You imagine your own AI data center humming, selling compute every hour. Racks glow softly, clients upload models, and invoices settle while you sleep. It feels like owning essential infrastructure, not chasing trends or fads. Long contracts, predictable demand, and scale promising lower cost over time. You picture resilience, redundancy, and a fortress against outages and chaos. Then the first cold fact arrives, cutting through the fantasy immediately. Power will be your main product and your biggest, riskiest bill. AI racks aren't normal. They draw 40 to 60 kilowatts each. Cooling them adds more load, pushing total site demand far higher. Modern facilities target PUE around 1.2 to 1.4. Every extra decimal point of inefficiency multiplies into shocking monthly costs. You'll need a serious electricity contract, not a casual retail tariff. Location ties you to a particular substation and grid reinforcement schedule. Queues for connections can delay revenue months, sometimes even several years. The kit clients want is hot, hungry, and brutally unforgiving. But before any client racks arrive, you have to build. From an empty site, you'll raise power, cooling, security, and fiber. The plan looks orderly, but each step hides delays and dependencies. Time equals money, and your cash burn begins long before revenue. Let's see what the main asset really is beyond the walls. Because owning an AI data center means owning disciplined, engineered power. You'll discover every hidden cost before the first model trains. Ready to build from nothing and count every pound carefully? So, what exactly must you acquire first, and why does it bite? You start with land or a long lease on an industrial plot. Proximity to a strong substation matters more than postcard-perfect office views. You need space for deliveries, maintenance, and future expansion capacity planning. A robust shell hosts your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, the critical backbone. Generators provide backup, sized for at least your committed IT load. Clients expect N+1 resilience or better, even during maintenance. UPS systems handle instantaneous ride-through, stabilizing power before generators start. High-quality switchgear manages distribution, protection, and safe fault isolation routines. AI workloads demand strong containment to keep airflow predictable and efficient. Busways and trays must support dense feeds without spaghetti chaos overhead. Cooling plant options include chillers, rear door exchangers, or liquid loop systems. Heat rejection design will define your maximum sustainable density per rack. Your airflow strategy must be engineered, not improvised with foam panels. Perimeter security, cameras, and access control satisfy client audit requirements. Dual fiber paths, ideally from separate carriers, deliver real telecom redundancy. Modularity lets you commission power blocks and halls progressively as demand appears. Prefabricated skids can speed deployment and reduce on-site construction risk. Spares policy shortens downtime and builds confidence with enterprise customers. DCIM tooling tracks load, thermal margins, alarms, and capacity in real time. Your resilience objective determines capital intensity and ongoing maintenance costs. Liquid cooling increases density but raises complexity and leak management requirements. Water consumption varies by design. Dry systems reduce reliance during drought constraints. This asset is engineered power and heat removal wrapped in secure space. Can you connect to the grid in time, and at what cost? Grid connection lead time is often your longest, least controllable task. You apply for capacity, await studies, and accept reinforcement work if required. Civils for cable runs, ducting, and chambers disrupt access and neighbors. Transformers, switch rooms, and protections must match the network operator's standards. Land rights for cable routes can stall progress unless negotiated early. Your single-line diagram will be scrutinized. Missteps cost months and money. Connection cost splits across studies, network upgrades, and your on-site infrastructure. Delays cascade, postponing commissioning, staff hiring, and your first invoice date. Meanwhile, you model electricity procurement scenarios and hedge strategies carefully. Delivered prices include network, capacity, and other charges layered over wholesale. Prices differ by region and contract shape. Flexibility usually costs more. Your PUE multiplies the bill, inefficiency magnifies every kW you buy. If IT draws 2 megawatts, facility draws more, depending on efficiency. At PUE 1.3, total becomes 2.6 megawatts continuous. The load is steady, 24 hours, 7 days, every week. 2.6 megawatts over a month becomes roughly 1.8 gigawatt hours. At about 22 pence per kilowatt hour, the bill gets heavy. That single haul could spend around £412,000 monthly. And that excludes fixed charges, reactive penalties, and supplier margins. Demand response helps slightly, but AI workloads often resist interruption. Hedging against price spikes matters. Volatility can smash thin margins quickly. Your relationship with the supplier and network operator becomes unusually important. Once power is secured, you can finally design around a reality. Next, you need to prepare the space to safely host extreme density. First, you build aisles, containment, and floor penetrations for clean airflow. Roof plant lands carefully, vibration mounts and noise limits guide placement. Electrical work demands precision. Temperature rise and fault energy drive layout. Liquid distribution manifolds are tested for leaks and balanced across rows. Commissioning identifies weak seals, gaps, and stray recirculation paths. Blanking panels reduce bypass airflow and protect thermal design assumptions. PDUs, metering, and branch circuit protection align with client load profiles. Cable management must avoid blockages and allow easy tracing for faults. Redundancy is designed room by room. Mechanical and electrical are mirrored strategically. Fire systems, early detection, and clean agent suppression satisfy insurer requirements. Access control integrates with cameras, logs, and remote alarm escalation. Network fabrics are dual-homed. Separate paths prevent a single copper failure. Monitoring catches creeping inefficiency before energy costs quietly snowball. Runbooks standardize responses to trips, heat alarms, and maintenance windows. Load banks let you prove cooling and electrical behavior before clients. Test black starts. Verify your ride-through timing and block load acceptance. Only after commissioning can you promise service levels without bluffing. Spares positioning shortens rectification time under service credits pressure. Your team must train regularly. Complacency ruins uptime reputations quickly. Preventive maintenance windows need client coordination to avoid perceived outages. Consumables cost money. Stocking levels matter when supply chains tighten. Now the room is ready, you must populate it and sell capacity. But first, who exactly do you need to run this machine? A data center is run by people who notice small anomalies early. Facilities engineers track generators, UPS state, cooling valves, and pump health. Network specialists keep routes diverse and secure, implementing client VLAN boundaries. Security teams manage access lists, overnight escorts, and incident investigations professionally. Remote hands answer tickets, replace drives, and press reset when agreed. Compliance staff align operations with ISO standards and client audit checklists. Health, safety, and environment disciplines protect staff and uptime simultaneously. Commercial managers shape deals, service credits, and fit-out responsibilities carefully. 24/7 coverage means shifts, handovers, and reliable escalation procedures. Building in-house competence reduces reliance on expensive emergency callouts. Inventory discipline prevents a small part from causing a long outage. Even cleaning protocols matter when airflow and particulates affect cooling performance. Background checks and references are standard for people with privileged access. Regular drills keep muscle memory ready for rare but stressful events. Crystal clear handovers avoid duplicated work and missed alarms in early hours. Procurement negotiates better pricing for diesel, filters, spares, and service contracts. Approved contractors handle periodic testing without jeopardizing your access controls. Staffing is a major recurring cost, but a false economy to cut. Finding experienced people takes time. The sector competes fiercely for talent. Night reliability comes from resilient people, not slogans on a brochure. You'll rely on this team whenever something unexpected decides to break. With people in place, you can finally start finding customers. Who exactly are they, and why would they choose your site? Your targets include AI startups, banks, research labs, and managed service providers. Decide whether you sell raw kilowatts or bundled managed GPU hosting. Prospects want pricing clarity, diversity to carriers, and predictable upgrade options. Competition is intense around London, Slough, and other major fiber routes. You'll network at industry events and court channel partners driving fit-outs. Expect RFPs demanding uptime history, security protocols, and clear incident handling. Tours reassure buyers. Cleanliness, order, and clear labeling sell confidence silently. For AI, density limits become the deciding factor, not just footprint. Speed to power on wins deals, delays push prospects elsewhere impatiently. Your SLA must balance ambition with what your site truly guarantees. Prospects ask about PUE. Low numbers reduce their headline energy costs. Security posture and audited processes close deals with regulated industries. Some will bring their own GPUs, others want hosted gear ready. You'll coordinate installs, cable routes, and test power before handover. Pricing models include per rack, per kilowatt, and managed service bundles. Low latency to clouds and exchanges becomes a compelling differentiator. Once booked, revenue starts, but service obligations begin immediately. Customer onboarding sets the tone for years. Get it meticulously right. Your remote hands become their trusted hands when things misbehave. Pipeline health matters. Churn hurts if your pipeline stalls suddenly. Satisfaction today becomes renewals tomorrow, compounding stable cash flow. Confidentiality reassures those training-sensitive proprietary AI models. Now, how exactly does money flow into your operation? Line by line. Base colocation revenue usually charges per kilowatt committed each month. Overage fees cover usage beyond baseline, discouraging surprise spikes. Cross-connects to carriers and partners bring small but steady add-ons. Remote hands and managed services bill hourly or by monthly bundles. One-time installation, migration, and cabling charges support onboarding work. If you host GPUs, you can sell nodes as a service. Subscription GPU revenue creates higher ARPU but demands higher capital. Power pass-through or markup policies differ based on contract preferences. Classic colocation sells space and power. AI colocation sells real cooling. Zoning halls by density allows premium pricing for scarce high-density blocks. Private cages, cameras, and dedicated corridors command higher monthly rates. Being near exchanges and clouds can justify pricier cross-connect ecosystems. Industry advisors report wholesale colocation around $196 per kilowatt monthly. That average converts loosely to roughly £150 per kilowatt. In the UK, quotes vary widely, often between 150 and 300. Larger footprints demand discounts. You trade margin for committed multi-year contracts. 3 to 5 year terms help debt service, smoothing utilization volatility. High-density premiums reflect scarce, chilled distribution and liquid-cooled expertise. Professional services for migration and architecture bring irregular but useful boosts. Transparent metering builds trust and reduces billing disputes during renewals. Channel partners bring clients and shared revenue for ongoing management. Revenue grows with footprint, density, and ecosystem stickiness, not just rack count. Now weigh those pounds against the relentless expenses hitting every single month. Electricity dominates, scaling almost linearly with IT load and PUE. Delivered price includes wholesale, transmission, distribution, and other levies. Large users in Britain often face delivered prices around 22 pence. Continuous draw multiplies quickly. There's no nightly off-peak slumber. Fuel and generator maintenance add periodic costs for readiness, not production. UPS batteries and capacitors age. Replacements are lumpy but predictable. Chillers, pumps, and fans need regular attention to avoid catastrophic failures. Filters and water treatment keep coils efficient and extend equipment life. Fiber leases, cross-connect panels, and port fees land monthly without fail. Salaries for engineers, security, management, and cleaners are substantial. Security contractors, patrols, and monitoring services present ongoing commitments. Spares inventory ties up cash but avoids painful shipping delays. Audits and certifications require annual renewals and independent reviews. Admin overheads persist even in a machine-dominated business. Insurance for property, interruption, cyber, and liability isn't optional here. Rates and taxes hit every property-based business, data centers included. Cleaning is non-trivial when contamination and static threaten sensitive kits. Legal fees appear during disputes, contracts, and new supplier agreements. Service contracts for critical equipment keep uptime targets credible. Depreciation schedules for MEP equipment shape your accounting and tax position. CapEx reserves for upgrades prevent emergency scrambles later. Your operating leverage is frightening. Small missteps destroy margins. Focus on power and personnel efficiency. They move the biggest needles. Permits and planning conditions restrict noise, emissions, and traffic patterns. Acoustic compliance might force costly enclosures and layout rethinks. Drainage, oil interceptors, and spill control add engineering and maintenance. Fuel deliveries need safety procedures, training, and strict record keeping. Two-person rules and lockout-tagout slow work but preserve lives. Escort policies increase labor during high churn install days. Where used, water sampling and treatment compliance is routine and finicky. Heat rejection must respect local environmental and neighbor concerns. Seals and logs matter because forensic audits sometimes follow incidents. Arc flash studies, labels, and PPE become part of your routine. Fire brigade familiarization helps responses during an improbable major incident. Forced downtime happens during testing. Plan windows and communicate early. Routine inspections consume time and money. Skipping isn't an option. Failed parts accumulate quietly. Disposal and recycling carry responsibilities. PPE stocks and training keep surprises from becoming tragedies. Clear egress and assembly points keep audits and staff safe. Service credit clauses turn failures into immediate financial pain. Leak detection and alarms are subtle insurance against large messes. Suppression systems require certified checks. Lapses risk invalid insurance. Neighbor engagement avoids objections during expansions and noise complaints later. Full-scale tests create temporary disruption, warn clients to expect alarms. Incidents happen. Response quality determines whether clients renew contracts. Hidden costs are the glue between headlines and real, safe operation. What about risks you can't control but must still prepare for? Energy price volatility follows weather, outages, and interconnector constraints. Geopolitical shocks hit fuel prices, affecting backup and wholesale electricity. Grid constraints or curtailment events can complicate contracted delivery profiles. Supply chain delays extend maintenance windows and risk service credits. Client hardware failures don't stop your power draw or cooling needs. Recessionary cuts can pause AI projects and defer expansions. Regulations tighten. Compliance upgrades consume unexpected capital. New capacity depresses pricing power, especially for low-density hauls. Physical security is strong, yet social engineering can still bypass controls. Backhoe accidents sever fiber. Redundancy saves reputations and SLAs. Extreme heat reduces cooling efficiency and increases your electricity spend. Water scarcity restricts evaporative systems. You pivot to dry cooling. Poor stored diesel degrades. Polishing and testing prevent start failures. Fuel theft risk rises when prices spike. Security must adapt. Rapid hardware cycles change density, heat, and client expectations. Client defaults or bankruptcies leave unpaid bills and empty racks. Insurance exclusions can surprise you after rare, complex incidents. Connection moratoriums stall growth in constrained grid regions. Currency swings affect imported equipment costs and service contract renewals. Thin cash buffers turn ordinary problems into existential threats quickly. You mitigate, but you never eliminate external risk entirely. Now, learn from real operators about what actually happened and why. Consider established UK colocation operators near London with high-density zones. Traditional racks use 5 to 10 kilowatts. AI can exceed 60. Operators invested in containment, liquid assistance, and better controls to lower PUE. Industry analysis shows IT equipment dominating energy share, especially in AI halls. Global data center electricity use has climbed, with AI accelerating growth. Policy briefings acknowledge AI may reach meaningful shares of total consumption. 8 high-end GPUs per server create nodes drawing 10 to 12 kilowatts. Operators retrofitted liquid-cooled doors to push density without rebuilding halls. Continuous monitoring allowed hotspot detection before failures or throttling. Backup fuel capacity expanded to cover elongated grid events and tests. Clients migrating from air-cooled nodes paid premiums for liquid-ready zones. Stable renewals came from consistent uptime and transparent energy metering. Lesson: pricing the scarce resource, cooling per rack beats pricing square footage. Lesson: phase builds to align capital with contracted demand, not hopes. Lesson: lock a portion of power, leave some flexibility for dips. Operators with structured drills resolved incidents faster and limited credits. Spares and partner SLAs cut mean time to repair significantly. Connectivity ecosystems created sticky recurring add-ons unaffected by compute hype. Security tailored to high-value AI tenants reassured boards and auditors. Certifications weren't marketing fluff, they won deals against cheaper rivals. Sustainable, predictable operation beat risky, over-optimized designs repeatedly. These signals frame your scaling choices and your pricing courage. So how do you scale and where do fresh dangers hide? Scaling by phases adds capacity without overexposing capital at once. Additional feeds or on-site generation raise resilience and contract attractiveness. Pre-reserving plant plinths prevents expensive later rework and crane mobilization. Standardized skids reduce engineering time and simplify spare parts logistics. Staff scales stepwise. Nights need true coverage, not exhausted overtime. Connectivity scales cheaply. It's a high-margin revenue line with stickiness. Power procurement tranches avoid repricing the entire estate on one day. Invest progressively in liquid-ready aisles to capture premium AI demand. Bigger backup increases noise and emissions. Permits might need modifications. Safety and neighbors both matter more as your footprint grows. Debt covenants tighten. Lenders want utilization proof, not projections. Underutilized halls destroy returns. Your sales engine must outpace construction. Multiple contractors escalate coordination risk. Quality control must tighten. More megawatts multiply power price risk unless hedged prudently. Grid reinforcements for larger loads can add years and uncertainty. Community relations get harder, impacts are bigger, eyes are more numerous. As you scale, audits intensify, small gaps become significant findings. Inventory sophistication rises. Data-driven spares planning beats guesswork. Airflow redesign for new aisles must not compromise existing containment. NUSI tools must scale. Alarm fatigue becomes a hidden enemy. Supplier diversification lowers single-vendor risk for critical components. Scaling improves unit economics if utilization stays high, and PUE improves. Let's run 2 scenarios. One realistic success, one uncomfortable truth. Assume one high-density hall at 2 megawatts committed IT capacity. Assume PUE 1.3, delivered price around 22 pence. Assume average colocation revenue £220 per kilowatt monthly. Revenue becomes £440,000 per month before extras. Total facility draw about 2.6 megawatts continuously. Monthly energy roughly 1.87 gigawatt hours consumed. Energy spend near £412,000 for that month. That leaves about $28,000 for everything else, which is impossible. Add-ons help, yet not enough to fund staff and maintenance properly. Now, price density properly, £300 per kilowatt, not $220. Revenue becomes £600,000 per month baseline. Subtract energy about $412,000, left roughly $188,000. Salaries, maintenance, connectivity, insurance might consume $120,000. Operating margin perhaps $68,000 monthly before interest and tax. If delivered power rises to 26 pence and price stays $220. Energy alone can exceed revenue. You'd lose money on every kilowatt. You must charge for scarce cooling and hedge a sensible power tranche. Capex remains significant. Generators, UPS, chillers, containment, and connection fees. Phase builds align capex with contracts, reducing idle expensive capacity.